call the Facilities Committee meeting agenda to order. Todd, let me lead us in a word of prayer, please. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day and the opportunity we have to serve the citizens of Glynn County. Grant us wisdom as we undertake the business of joint water and sewer. Thank you for all of our staff, their family, and protect them. And help us to live a life that brings glory to you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. We don't have any public comment, do we?
No, sir, we do not.
We'll move to the approval section. Number one item is minutes from the June 19th, 2024 Combined Facilities and Finance Committee meeting. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 3-0. Second item is minutes from the June 19th, 2024 executive session. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented here on this page.
Motion second. All in favor? Motion carries. Next item is capital purchase portable CCT reel. Mr. Burris.
Yes, sir. We utilize CCTV technology to inspect pipelines in the sewer collection system. Typically, this is performed by staff adjacent to the equipment van itself. However, we do have certain lines that go in backyards and in crowded areas where vehicle access is not possible. When we encounter these, it would be very helpful for us to have a portable reel. Otherwise, we are unable to inspect these lines. And so we went and got pricing for a rapid view IBAC system, which is the camera system that is on all of our CCTV trucks. The total price to buy the console, cable, and boom, the camera, and the mobile rack is $437.38. This was listed as a capital purchase item in the fiscal year 25 budget for systems pumping and maintenance with a budgeted cost of $50,000. This is being purchased off of a Sourcewell contract.
Can I have a motion?
I move that the Facilities Committee recommend the purchase of one CCTV reel unit from the Jetvac Equipment Company in the amount of $41,437.38.
I'll second the motion.
Motion is second. Are there any questions?
Can I ask Ms. Cosby, on the Sourcewell contract, do we use that frequently or
For certain things like this that we're not a volume purchaser for,
Mhm.
we get a slight discount. I believe on this one it's like a 40% discount.
right?
So we do use it for things like this that we're not like frequent volume type items.
So
This
we,
has already been procured,
Mm.
all the selections put in place. And this specific equipment, IVAC, it's, you know, it's kind of the sole source in the sense that
Right,
we
yeah.
don't have to develop the existing.
right, so, and this is, we're using the buying power of several other different agencies
Yes.
to get the better pricing. Good, thank you so much.
What size lines can this work in? What is the smallest line it can go through?
Smallest line's a 6. It cannot do 4-inch. We have to push camera 4-inch laterals, but it can do down to a 6-inch line.
Do we have something that can go through 4-inch laterals?
We push camera 4-inch
Okay.
laterals. That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor? Motion carries 3-0. Next item is dedication of easements and infrastructure. Mr. Klein?
Thank you, Commissioners. Good afternoon. This item is an infrastructure, an existing infrastructure, and 2 easements.
Open the wrong one.
I did open the wrong one. Oops.
Wrong one.
Let's see. Here we go. Should do it. There we go. So a little background on this, and I'll pull up mapping to show the location of where we are speaking. Okay, Oak Grove Island, this is 341, Code 4 Sterling, or New Jessup Highway. Oak Grove Island Road is here, I think there's a little bit of perspective of where we're talking about. And just a little before, a little south of Oak Grove Island, there's a little stub out of water, it's private water, and Superior Storage is the commercial business, and I'll zoom in. It's located there. I'll turn on our, visualize it a little bit better. Okay, Superior Storage business here, private water line that was installed by their, forces here back when this was developed, this project. It stops just short, there's two separate parcels, one parcel here, second parcel here. The water line stops just short of Old Jessup Road. We were approached by a resident that's on a private well off of Old Jessup Road. There's currently no public water infrastructure in this location. And we took a look around, trying to see how we may be able to accommodate, this, customer, desired customer. And we saw this as an opportunity. So, Superior Storage did install this line here as a fire line primarily, but their potable also comes off of it. We approached Superior Storage and through a lot of negotiations and communications with them, particularly through the efforts of Mr. Dormany's office, finally able to settle in on an easement, two easements. One easement for the first piece of property, second piece of property, and then also dedication of the water line itself. And that'll get us to Old Jessup Highway with a little bit more effort in-house likely for distribution possibly to extend the water line. Once we get the easement and the water line, extend on out to Old Jessup right away, and then we can branch either way to pick up new customers. So that's the history and background and why we would consider this. Infrastructure was inspected back when it was installed. Records indicate, we've got record drawings for it. It's 300 and something feet. Yeah, a little over 300 linear feet of 8-inch C900 PVC pipe, meets our current standards. And then also the two water easements. Documents are included in the back for reference, two easement plats. And then tomorrow you'll see the dedication document. I don't think you'll see it in the packet today.
What year was that installed? Do you have an idea?
That is a good question. It's a little over 10 years old, I believe.
Okay.
It's been in the
Right.
ground a little while.
Can I have a motion?
One thing to note, we are not getting a warranty with this dedication because they're outside of what would be the normal warranty period.
In years,
because
right.
it was never going to be dedicated.
Right.
So as part of the dedication, they are not providing a warranty, but given the access to Old Jessup, staff feels that's.
But right now it's a private line, right?
Currently, it is privately owned and maintained.
And where's their meter?
Their meter is, if it doesn't show on here,
It is, it's a yellow dot by the corner of the building.
here. Yeah. Boom.
Oh, there it is, okay.
Yeah. So it's
And,
up
and,
there
and
off-
they use it for a fire line too?
Yes.
Do they have a fire meter? A fire line meter?
No, sir, we don't have meters on fire lines. Fire lines are direct connections with backflow preventers on them, and they pay a monthly fire protection charge for that.
Do they do that right now?
Yes.
So, do we have an easement for where we want to extend the line out to Old Jessup?
We do.
Is that in this, is that in this?
Yes, sir. The easement plats you'll see attached do show it extending all the way from New Jessup all the way through the two parcels to Old Jessup. So
Now,
it was
is that
deemed access.
what's that, is that just a sidewalk beside it? Where's the building? What's the building and the roadway? I'm trying to
So
see what,
the,
and Old Jessup's right at the back of the building?
Oh, you're
Yes,
talking about.
let me zoom out just a little bit.
Yeah, you couldn't see it very well with the trees, I think.
Got it. Let me turn off the, maybe this will help clear it up just a little bit. There we go. So the building footprint here, Superior Storage, this is all, right now, it's a storm retainage area. Joint water, this is public line across 341, that had to be public, right away to right away. Once it, went on the private property side, it became public. Okay, so they've got one fire hydrant lateral that stubs off here, and the fire line extends all the way here. Another fire hydrant here at the end, and the potable meter is up here. I would imagine they, rather than running a separate and independent fire line only, made sense to, folks to approve this plan, to at least get a little bit of usage on this line, keep the water moving. So there's quite a lot of potable using off of that. Sometimes you'll see separate independent water, fire lines run, particularly if it connects for a fire suppression system here, which I don't see a backflow in there, so.
And somebody else has already requested water, right?
Yes.
Somebody, down Old Jessup in the neighborhood, kind of to the east there.
So would we loop that line back around?
Right now, it would likely be a dead-end line coming from Old Jessup through here, or excuse me, New Jessup through here. Old Jessup, we'd stub out about that way, and then stub out down here. I don't remember the exact address, but it's one of these units here that was requesting. They're having some issues with it though. So now they would be responsible for running the water main line to their doorstep. Unless Oil was able to work out a common project with them. But we would probably look for a loop sometime in the future, capital project, add it to a project list.
Can we see where the water lines are on that map? I don't see, I'm not sure what's clear on them, where the existing water lines are.
Let me turn sewer off because it's kind of looking, it's kind of overlaying. So let me turn storm off too.
Is there any private water systems right in there?
There are, yes, sir. So if you see, when I turn sewer off, I turned off the septic tanks. Let me show you. Turn it back on so it's apparent.
So how much new pipe is joint water planning on putting in to serve this one individual?
We would run it from
20 feet?
We're just going from the end of that line,
Right to Old Jessup?
right to Old Jessup.
correct, right.
You're gonna stub out there.
Stub out there.
And that's it,
And then you gonna run a service line all the way to his house?
down Old Jessup?
That would be the right, so about 120 or so feet to get to the right of way. So then we would have it there at the right of way stubbed out. The customer, whenever they would pay capital fees or whatnot, we'd assist them with a right of way plan. We'd get the right of way permit. They would be in charge of extending a 2-inch or whatever it would be to get it to their doorstep. And then at some point in the future, if we decided to include an 8-inch main upgrade or something like that to actually loop, we would upgrade the line size at that time and then retie them in when we ran by them. But right now, we don't have any plans or any funding to extend down Old Jessup to their doorstep. That would be on them to do at this time. But this at least gives them access to water.
Are we planning to go ahead and do that last 120 feet almost right away, or?
That would be the next step. I think we would schedule that probably with operations, I would imagine. Maybe would do that in-house when they have the time.
Yeah, in-house, okay,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So we'll have it there for future use in case something happens with this person. Are there any other indications from any of the people who live in the area of a need for water?
No one else has approached us directly,
Mhm.
but this is what I was going to show. If everywhere you see the red septic tank icon, you can assume that there's either private well or private community system
Right.
type thing. But I believe all these folks in here are going to be private wells. So anyway,
Approximately, where's the house that's actually,
I think it's one of these two houses here. I think it's 2564.
Does he know how much it's gonna cost him?
and he's gonna run it all the way down Old Jessup?
They would, right, so you're.
Until they see the cost. Could be expensive, right?
It could be.
Need to get a right-of-way permit from the county.
Yeah, they have to get a right-of-way permit. It's just under the 1,000-foot limit for like a 2-inch.
Do it all the time.
So
Okay, right,
we would hope we could coordinate this pretty quickly with maybe a capital project, but we don't have anything on the books.
right.
The effort is always to try to get new customers on, especially when they're in need. Their well hasn't failed, but they have a lot of issues in their way in the balance between purchasing a new well versus
Right.
doing capital
But
fees.
if we did a capital project, we wouldn't just put a 2-inch line in, right? We would put something larger and
So we could extend fire hydrants and all that, and also
Mhm,
even have,
okay.
Greater benefit to the folks in there for fire protection.
Well, let me ask you this, if this person actually do the effort to go put a 2-inch line from all the way down there, down Old Jessup to there, would we want to say, okay, if you're gonna do a 2-inch, we'll give you a little money, just go ahead and throw a 4-inch?
What we've done in the past is in scenarios where that has been beneficial, we've provided the pipe material for them to install. If they need a 2 and we want to put in a 6 or an 8, we've given them the pipe, and they get a contractor to install it. Our contribution has been materials.
It's a fantastic idea.
What's the pressure right there?
Pressure, I don't have any hydrant data right there. That system is looped in now, we've got the 99 connection
Should be
on.
55 to 60.
55 to 60 is our, average baseline system pressure. But to Mr. Burrow's point, the bucket width is a bucket width. It's the same depth whether it's 2 inch or 8 inch or 4 inch.
But should we research it, whether we want to run a line the other direction on Old Jessup also?
To pick up a loop to the north.
Yeah, and to pick
I
up,
think
and
certainly-
provide
certainly
water,
one day
water
we
for
could
other
do that.
customers.
Certainly one day that could be incorporated to go further up Old Jessup.
I question putting in a little 2-inch line there, when you got all these people that are future water customers.
There's a lot of houses in that area, yeah.
There's a lot of houses.
If they're all individual private wells,
I believe there's a community system in there, well system for one of the neighborhoods, but most of them, to my knowledge, are private individual wells.
well, how can we find that out?
We can find out definitely if they're community wells, and then the assumption would be if they're not community wells, they have to be private wells.
Yeah, I think we're pretty, we know who to contact to determine if they have a private community well in that area. The only one that I'm aware of, Wittersap used to own, the now Water Utility Management likely would own, so be a phone call to find out.
So we don't know where all the private water systems are in our county?
I mean, there's a map, I just don't know them off the top of my head.
Right, we, those are regulated, we have, the ones that we know about, we have them in our layer, but, we may not know all of them.
So we don't have an agreement with the property owner, nothing? He just might want to extend water?
No agreement, and they have not paid capital fees, no.
But we're not gonna put the other 120 foot in until they pay the
Yeah.
capital
Right,
fees.
yeah.
And they weren't gonna pay capital fees unless they knew that we had a line that was gonna be extendable.
So they're just weighing cost of new well versus, okay.
So actually, what we're doing is just approving an easement back to, and the owner that put the line in, he's agreed to the easement,
That's correct.
Correct,
and there'll be a public water line then.
absolutely.
But we don't have to tie to it right now till we get everything else straight.
do not.
So we're not gonna do that.
You said there was a lot of negotiation. Was there some reluctance on their part, or is it?
I'll let Mr. Dorman answer on as far as the dedications. The interested party with the well, private well, has routinely called weekly.
Yeah.
Hey, can I get water yet? Can I go? Yes.
I'm talking about the storage people.
Okay,
now.
storage people.
Were they reluctant to give up their water line? Okay. Okay.
What
So
are
a
the-
little
what are the
possessive
hoops?
about their water line, okay.
What are the hoops?
Well, they had a lawyer that I was dealing with, and we went back and forth on some bids.
Because they use that for a fire line now. This would be if we make, it's just a dead end line. If we tie other people to it, it could affect the fire protection. Unless we loop it or something. I mean, I don't mind us approving the easement today, but so far as the future plans for it, we don't know what it is yet. We need to approve the future plans at another meeting perhaps.
This is the first step to
We
make
get more
water available
information.
on Old Jessup Road, right.
Well, can I have a motion for us to approve the easement? Do we have it?
Facilities Committee recommend to the full commission approve and accept these projects with the associated documentation.
I'll second the motion.
Do we have other projects, Todd?
No, so that's the only one.
That is the only one at this time.
So it's this project, okay. Any other questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. We'll go to the discussion section, water production report, Mr. Burrows.
Yes, sir. Our flows for the month were quite high overall. It has been raining every day, what it felt like for the last 4 weeks, but early on in the month of June, we had quite high water usage for the mainland district, 5.4 million gallons, for nearly 5.5 million gallons.
Water.
We did have some ongoing pumping issues at Howard Coffin that we are still sorting through. but we were able to maintain with picking up the flow at Brunswick Villa. And you see the loops that we've done on the North Mainland have certainly provided benefit, as you see increased flow rates from the Fletsy well and the Golden Isles 1 and 2 well to help balance the well structures out more effectively. But on our graph, you see it did pretty good jump, a little higher than it was last year, but decent jump from where we had been from January to May so far for the year.
Can I ask a question of the Fletsy well?
Mhm.
What changed that all of a sudden we were down in the, 2, 3?
Well,
all
there's
of a
two
sudden-
things that changed. One, that station from the ground has two suction pipes, and one of them had a hole in it, so it was airlocking. So we got that straightened out by removing one of the suction pipes because it wasn't necessary. And then also when we loop the well system and water starts flowing through the new pipes in the different directions because demand's changed, it pulled some water away from that area and allowed Fletsy to run a little bit more.
Because I know it was keeping you up at night.
It
for a
was. I
while.
couldn't figure out why we weren't getting any water out of it.
Right.
St. Simons for the month, 3.6 million gallons. Not our highest in the last year and a half, but within 13,000 gallons a day of being our highest water use for the last year and a half.
Busy over there.
How much of that's irrigation water?
Well, I was just going to point that out. If you go to the sewer real quick at Dunbar, and we know these numbers have some I&I in them, it was 2.9 million leaving Dunbar. So even if we assume all of that was not I&I related, it's at least 700,000 gallons a day of outdoor water usage. So
Dry for a while.
it has been very dry, especially for the first half of June, and so I think we were doing a lot of watering there, but you see increases at literally 3 of the 4 well sites, and Mallory was down for a day or two, and so that's a slight decrease, but overall, system's pretty well balanced there. All wells running at least 650,000 gallons a day.
Why was Mallory down?
Sir?
Why was Mallory down?
That was an electrical issue. The power went out, and that station's generator is set for replacement with the FEMA project. And so if it's just short term, we don't take a portable generator over there. But in an event of a storm event, we'll have a portable generator sitting there. So.
Okay.
And exit 29, first month over 400,000 gallons for the month down at the exit 29 system per day, 400,000 gallons per day for the month at the exit 29 system. There's been quite a bit of both residential and commercial growth in the exit 29 area, and still seeing that continue as I drive in every day. So a little bit of a bump there. Some of that also is outdoor water usage as well. And I don't, oh, there it is, it's attached to the back. And our water loss report, unaccounted for the month, was 9.37%. So about 900,000 gallons a day unaccounted for, but we did account for 8.6 million gallons a day, which is, as you see, the highest metered total that we have had with the new meters. So 98.6%, 7% of our AMI meters transmitted as appropriately. So that's within the standard that they committed to. So that was, they're committed to 98%, correct? 98.5%. So that number should be above 98.5 every month because that's what they committed to with the AMI meters.
So the meters have actually let it see a more accurate
That's
amount
correct.
of percentage of water loss.
More accuracy through the meters. Most of that is from the replacement of meters that were not reading at all. So I don't know that we had significantly inaccurate meters as much as we had a couple thousand meters that weren't reading. And so that's made a big difference.
Ever had many comments from customers that wonder why their water bill went up?
Some of them have had that comment. Some of them knew their water bill was not being, their water was not being calculated. And when they saw us changing their meter out, asked us if their water bill was about to increase. We replied that it would be right for the first time in a couple of years.
That was an uh-oh moment, huh?
They were aware. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't estimate flow, so if we don't get a reading for the month and it didn't transmit, then they just got the minimum bill. So,
Well, anything under 10 is certainly well within,
yes, sir, certainly.
limits, so, great, good.
Good report. move to the wastewater now.
Yes, sir. Academy Creek for the month, 5 million gallons a day. So again, that dryness certainly showed up at Academy, and certainly with no pine overflow, we're going to start seeing in the drier months quite a bit lower flows leaving the facility. Fairly standard flow concentrations coming in, 168 on the BOD, 205 on the TSS. BOD is a little lower than what you might expect there, but not too bad. We're still out of compliance with ammonia and enterococci. Those numbers have trended in the right direction this month. We're crossing our fingers that the ammonia limit will almost certainly be out for the month of July, but the last 2 weeks it has been below 2.5, and the limit is 1, so we are trending in the right direction there on the ammonia there at Academy Creek. Filters have been giving us some issues. They've been offline. The aqua aerobics tech is here this week, trying to get those back up and running. So with that, we did see a little lower TSS removal. So 96% BOD, 92% TSS removal for the month there at Academy Creek. Project at Academy Creek is scheduled to kick off for the RAS and UV August the 12th. So,
And what's the construction time?
it is 300 days. So they're supposed to be completed by end of May.
We have the UV equipment already.
Yes, UV equipment sitting in the solids building.
And what about the pumps?
Pumps have been ordered, but they're not delivered yet. Pumps got ordered, I believe, in May, and they said 22-week lead times on the pumps. Dunbar Creek, as we mentioned earlier, 2.9 million gallons a day there at that facility. You see, with the less rainfall for the month, you see the increase in the BOD and TSS coming in as it's not diluted from the rainfall. But the plant handled it very well. Almost 99% removal of both BOD and TSS through the facility. And that plant is operating very effectively now with the improvements that we've made, and we'll go over some of the more, as we're finalizing that project. Dunbar Creek facility is doing very well now and being operated very successfully by our crews there at St. Simon's. And Southport still having issues with the influent meter. The influent meter is reading half of what the effluent meter is. So rather than give you data that is clearly inaccurate, we're just not giving you the data right now. They're working through that. I think it's something with the way it's recording the data. It's resetting itself like every 8 hours or 12 hours instead of 24 hours. So we're still working through some of those.
What kind of meter is it?
It is it's a level meter going through a partial flume. And it's the way it's recording in the SCADA system. So, but 400,000 gallons leaving the facility for the month, 97% BOD, 98% TSS removal there at Southport. Plants doing very well overall, and good to see the Dunbar and Southport plants remaining well within our compliance limits for the month.
Okay, let's go to the construction photos. This is Todd.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Pictures.
All right, Commissioners, thank you again for the chance to showcase some of the action photos from the field on projects that are in motion. All right, first project here to look at is 4105, 4107 Basin Expansion, Force Main Reroute. Improvements there at Kate Road, Perry Lane. Intersection here is the 4107 Force Main connection to the receiving gravity. That's the receiving gravity manhole right in the center, you'll see. And it looks like a lot of dead grass, but I don't think I think he got a good deal on the grass, but I don't.
He needs to get an irrigation meter.
Yes, he needs an irrigation meter. So,
Rain we recently had, it might be green now.
Yeah, right now, it's probably green after.
Not as
last
much
few
rain
weeks.
as we've had, that's true.
the good news is that's just the dead on top, but it will come up from the back, and it is in the contract for the contractor to establish green grass, So looking good there. They made a connection, had to kind of come in and connect to that. It's pretty much a dead-end manhole right there that it ties into, and did a good job. TB Landmark, our contractor there. Next picture shows the valves pretty much right in front of the pump station. You're looking back towards Parker's, towards the receiving manhole there. There's the inline valves there, the force main at the station. painted nice and green.
I did have a contractor tell me one time, talk about growing grass, that he said they could put anything in the ground we wanted, but he can't get grass to grow. It's the worst part of any job.
Okay, next project here is looking down, the right-of-way for, well, this is actually the same project, I'm sorry, 4105. So this is the second pump station improvement, fourth main improvement. Got the locates done out here. This is where they come out of Winstead subdivision. And we'll make the turn with 4105 force main upgrade, headed south down there to the intersection with Old Jessup Highway, Old Jessup Road.
Has the fiber already been put in that area?
Thank you for asking. Your question is timely. If you look right here, this is Live Oak installing their fiber right down the right away, unfortunately. So the install is being coordinated, and this is open cut. As it was bid, this section here is open cut. The contractor, to my knowledge, nothing's changed with that plan as far as drilling it in lieu of. But yeah, they're going to get it in there. But they're going to have Live Oak locate their stuff appropriately. So that is fiber going in. Next project to speak of is ARCO, Water and Sewer Extensions. And you see that percentage is closing in. We're getting close on this project to completion as far as installation of all the sewer mains out there. Getting close to 92%. There's a overhead view of trench box and process, dewater and pump, all that typical stuff you see on site. Excavator going on. Appropriate PPE and whatnot in place. And that is UWS, our contractor. 8-inch sewer main.
We did on this project, were alerted last week, I believe it was, that we will be receiving grant funding. Well, rephrase. We have been awarded grant funding from the state DNR to help with running of sewer laterals to the houses and making the connections. That still has to go through an approval process through the EPA. It's an administrative process. It'll take anywhere from 1 to 3 months. So the way the plan will work, once approved, we will bid out and have a contracted price with a single contractor to install the laterals. The homeowners will be responsible for the capital fee portion, but the laterals will be a portion funded with a grant until the funds run out. We believe we've got sufficient funding to do at least 250 homes out there, but obviously we'll wait till the bid prices come back to see where that goes. And the capital portion for an existing structure can be financed for up to 10 years on your water and sewer bill monthly. So there's no requirement to pay anything out of pocket up front to get onto the sewer system once the grant program goes into effect. So we'll be putting out information about that once this is approved and we're going through, there'll be a public meeting where people will have the opportunity to sign up. Best case scenario, at the public meeting, we'll have documents available for people that would like to sign up already and potentially either pay their fees in full or get onto the financing program, so that when we have our contractor ready to go, they can hit as many of them at one time as they can. We'll get better pricing if they can get whole sections at a time instead of having to jump around.
Should we have a contractor's price before we have that meeting? So we know.
That's what we'll do, yes, sir. The goal is we'll have the contractor there at the meeting as well. So they'll know who the contractor is, we can introduce them, they'll know who's working in the neighborhood and everything like that. So it's very exciting. This is a state 319 grant. To my knowledge, I do not believe they've ever funded a septic to sewer conversion project with this grant program. And so I guess we're somewhat going to be their guinea pigs to see how it's going to work. And if it does work, this is an annual grant program, and the hope is we'll apply for similar funding for the Brunswick-Glynn project on the heels of this.
Do we know the approximate length of all the laterals?
Total length of all laterals?
Well, we know where our sewer lines are going, and we can get a general idea, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because we had to do that when we applied for the grant. We came up with that number.
Right, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So,
Back of the houses to the lateral.
back of the houses to the laterals, so I forget exactly what the average I used was, but it should be obviously going in those back alleyways. The unopened alleyways will actually shorten the amount of laterals we have to run. Now, we will not be demoing the septic tanks as portions of this project. That will be the homeowner's responsibility to demo their existing septic tank.
And the portion that the property owner has can be spread out over how many years?
Up to 10 years
10 years, okay.
on their monthly bill.
So that would increase their monthly bill by around, what, $20
Yeah,
maybe?
18 to 20 bucks,
18,
somewhere
okay.
in that ballpark. Yes, sir.
Good.
But a lot of those customers have told us that they're having to pump their septic tanks every 2 to 3 months. And so if you're having to pump a septic tank for a couple $100, $300 every 2 to 3
Right.
months, this would be a much better option for them.
So there could be a rush. Are we anticipating just having one single contractor or
That's the
one
hope.
company?
That is the hope, to just have one single contractor. What we didn't want to have happen was people getting their own contractors and having to come in and then dealing with some contractors charging higher prices and lower prices, and then not being able to effectively get through the neighborhood that way.
How did we
Good
find
news.
out about that program?
That program was two reasons. One, County Commissioner Alan Booker told us about the program, and we started looking at it from there. And then originally, when I read through the documents, I did not think these projects would actually qualify. But I went to Georgia Rural Water and said it on a presentation the DNR did about these funding programs, and asked, could we do this? And she told me no one had ever asked. She'd have to see. So, and then we asked. So
Can't beat,
sometimes, it's
Yep.
a little nugget of an idea turns into something great for everyone around. So hopefully, they've used these funds to pump out people's septic tanks before, but never to get rid of them.
And you got all that in writing from them, approving it?
Yes. Yes, sir. That, we've got it in writing, but it does have to go to the federal government for review and approval before they officially release the funds.
Let me know, I can have it help coordinate with their neighborhood planning
Yes.
assembly for that public meeting and stuff.
Absolutely. So that'll be very successful, I
Great.
believe, for the neighborhood. It's been a long haul for them in that neighborhood. That project's taken much longer than it should have, but assuming we can get most of them tied on through this grant program, it'll be a very good outcome for the area.
so.
We're gonna need participation on it.
Yes.
That's why we do these projects, right? Okay, next project, Sea Palms East Waterline Rehab, and that project is essentially done, and,
It's supposed to be tying in today,
except for
right?
the tie-in, yeah,
Supposed to
working
be
on the
tying in
tie-in.
now, right?
So, if you've been on the Frederica Road on St. Simon's Island, around the Sea Palms area, Palm Drive, you have likely seen the construction going on, or, the remaining items, traffic control, et cetera. That's a waterline crossing going in to, augment the, existing connection there on Frederica Road. TB Landmark are, contractor on that as well. Several nights of night work involved. There's paving going back in place, even capped at flowable fill. And pretty much went off without a hitch. Very well facilitated. Next project, galvanized replacements in-house with our operations staff. Good shot of the team there, water distribution.
Is that the whole team?
Sir?
That's most of them. I don't know that everybody was there that day, but that's the vast majority of them.
Yeah, look at all the smiling faces.
And how many of those are working on the galvanized line
And-
replacements?
On any given day, 5 to 6 of them are probably working strictly galvanized, but all of them rotate through the project.
Okay.
All of them gets part of the fun.
They get all the fun, that's correct.
Mhm.
So, then they're finishing up Wesley Oak Circle, which is a separate project. Once they do that, they're gonna go back into El Dorado, Menendez, Rivera Drive. There's a loop they've gotta make in there as the next galvanized work they're going to be completing.
Very good. Yep, we've received some communications from folks in the neighborhood and whatnot, interested parties, and we're happy to report that they should be having some noticeable improvements with these lines tying in, so. All right, next project to speak of, Canal Road Water Production Facility. If you've been out in that area, you have seen the site is cleared and for the most part graded, and most of the dirt work completed. Our contractor Reeves Young out there doing a great job so far. We had a good last permitting meeting with Glynn County last week, sorted out a little issue there, and we're full steam ahead again on this project. So we're looking to see maybe the tank contractor is subcontractor is pre-con, do the pre-stressed ground storage tank, coming in late September, maybe early October. So we should start seeing some really good stuff happening out there, visible things happening.
If you've never seen them build those pre-stressed concrete tanks, it's an interesting process they go through.
Very cool. Stretching a piano wire or a guitar string.
Really?
Yeah, it's really pretty interesting.
They go to tighten it up and they tell everybody to back up. That thing snaps. I'm not sure we're going to be far enough back.
They literally take a skidder with a spool of wire once they get the tank formed up and shotted and all that, and they stretch that wire with a skidder all the way around. They do it in phases, but pretty much if that thing lets loose, you know what happens. So it's everybody does stand back for sure. But it's a really cool process to see, and it makes a really strong tank. That's why I call it pre-stressed. That wire is stretched when they set it in concrete. All right, next project to speak of is our 3-pump station project. And this first one, of course, is pump station 4002.
What did they do in that, on that project?
All the demo work and internal wall and floor rehab is nearing completion inside. What's left is the electrical. So I believe all of the submittals and whatnot to this point are completed, and we're just waiting for the contractor to receive all the electrical components.
So the electrical that we're looking at there, that's gonna be replaced?
Yes.
Yes.
And they built a separate interior. They built a new wall, and the electrical components will be separate from the rest of the building interior, so that's, when we do have structures like that, we like to keep the electrical rooms separate because they need to be conditioned a little bit differently than the rest of the building needs to be.
These
Is that
little
a new mini split outside, or is that mini split been there? Is that AC there?
I think that's new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks new.
So this one little picture right here, just to note, is one of the details of the project that was needed. Access to this dry pit wet well. So there is the slab of the building actually covers up part of the wet well where the wastewater is, the reservoirs collected and pumped from. And so this is new access, much safer access and level control instrument access than what was there before. So decent amount of concrete work in this project here for 4,000 feet. Okay. Next project is pump station 4044. That's out there by Walmart and Publix, next to Brakes for Less. And our contractor Popco there is welding up their supports for their trench boxes. And they're actually utilizing our site there at the mall tank. There's a lot of grassed area out there that they can safely store and lock up materials and whatnot, so they're utilizing that and trucking it as needed to the actual project site.
How deep is that pump station?
This one's about 25 foot, I believe, to the invert.
They're putting the shoring's 40 foot, right? So the trench shoring is gonna be 40 foot deep. They're driving the piles. I think that's what they said. 2 20-foot sections they're welding together. Wasn't that what they were going to do?
Yeah, let me get back with you on that. If they're going that deep. This next picture here is the that's the existing station right there that's going to be basically turned into a receiving manhole. The one on the very bottom is the private station. It's going to get decommissioned and it's going to get passed through gravity directly to our new station. And that was part of the agreement with our neighbors there for easements and property acquisition.
Did we add that porta potty, or was that?
That is a permit
Contractor
requirement,
agreement,
yes. They have to have their own facilities, although it is kind of funny to see that next to the other facilities. But
You may have to put a quarter in to use it, though.
and they do have to be secured when they're not on site because
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, they would have to, I think.
it's presumed to be a community asset apparently when the middle of the night, I guess. So next project is Dunbar Creek Water Production Facility. Well, that's looking good out there. That
Yeah,
structure.
so clarifier is essentially complete at this point. They did the mechanical startup on the clarifier yesterday. Everything went smoothly there. The remaining steps to get water in the clarifier is making the tie-in in the new splitter box, which is going to be, right there at that bottom picture, exciting bypass scenario to get that online. But BRW has a plan, so that should go well. We're waiting on the gates. The gates should be in into this week, and so they should have those installed next week, and theoretically start bypassing sometime either end of next week or first of the following week to get the water into the new to cut so that we can get water into the new sections of the splitter box, and then we'll fill up the clarifier. We'll fill that up and then make sure it's running effectively and take one of the other ones down because one of the skimmer arms has dropped and is broken. So we need to take it down to work on it. So it'll be effective there. Final SCADA work is set to be completed next week, including the DO control loop for the blower. And so we should be able to, at that point, automate our blower controls to make sure we're not over oxygenating the water, which original estimates were we were going to save somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 a year at that plant due to automated blower controls. So, getting very near the end of the work there. We've got permitting activities ongoing for the roadway and for the actual discharge permit expansion. So once those are completed, of course, the roadway improvements can be made, and once the expansion is completed, the permit is completed, then our daily permitted flow will go to 5 MGD. We will be getting a phosphorus limit, so the engineers are working through necessary changes for treating for phosphorus, which is likely going to be chemical addition to precipitate it out. Maybe able to reutilize the old filter structure to house our
That'd work well for that.
phosphorus equipment.
Very cool. Repurposing. Okay, next project is, it's part of the 3 pump stations, but it made its way down here towards the end. 4001 is just a screenshot. No work really of any extent has gone on down there at 4001 yet, but it's located, this is just a aerial view showing you the port, Logistech and whatnot down there at the very end, the south end of Brunswick with a beautiful bridge in the background. But 4001 is located here. Let's see the Star Station right here. So it does serve port area in these neighborhoods south of here. Seafarers Cottage and whatnot. It's down there on the end. Another shot of it close up with the port in the background. And this is the 3rd pump station of that group. This is 3101 on the south end at Dunbar Creek, or excuse me, Southport Exit 29 treatment plant is right here. Design 95, Exit 29 is just up this way. Treatment plant right here. New residential development, multifamily going in right here. Southport Townhomes, RV place here, and 3101 is right here. Pump station 3101 is right here. Very busy pump station. And as Mr. Burrow said in his report, going to get a lot busier with all the development that's going on the south end right now. There's just a direct overhead view of the site itself right there too. And I think we mentioned maybe last time, there's a service pole right now comes from this transformer service line. It goes to the station, but there's also for this telecom facility here, you can barely see it. There's a service drop that comes right across the top of our pump station. It's part of this project that's being relocated right now. So our VATCons can get in there safely.
They actually started building on the residential area right next to the,
Those townhomes, yes, sir.
okay, they are.
Commissioner, right, exactly. So these are all under construction in this.
On the other side. And then on this side also, there's going to be?
There's going to be, this is storage here, I'm sorry.
Okay.
There's storage there, townhomes on the backside.
Yeah,
Okay,
townhomes.
that's what, okay.
Right now, this is a place for townhomes right here. We got more property through here, so maybe the next phase.
And
They're coming along.
The school is just to the right of the photo.
Yes.
So that's the grassy area there is the front lawn of the school.
That's the school, yeah, I thought that was.
And I like to point out our Southport tank site.
Yes, right there.
So a lot of changes to that view coming up in the future, next couple of years. There we go. Speaking of tanks, Small and Oglethorpe tank sites, and hopefully we're going to receive a final pay request from our contractor, Tank Probe, on this job so we can evaluate and close this out. Paint jobs are looking great.
How much we get paid for those antennas on that tank?
Individual tank, I don't remember, but we bring in about 350,000 throughout the year from all of the tank sites.
There's another shot. You can see Popco utilizing the tank site at the mall as a lay yard for their project at 4044. Okay, Wesley Oaks Wesley Oaks Circle water main improvements.
This internal project, the mains were put in by DNC Directional Drilling trenchlessly. Our crews are making the tie-ins. They're having to relocate some palm trees out of the way where a tie-in is necessary to avoid having to cut a curve in the road, which is going to be a challenging traffic situation. So that work was supposed to be done this week. I have not checked with staff to see if that's been completed or not, but once that work is done, then we'll do all the chlorination and get it all flowing again. That is replacing a 6-inch main that had two 2-inches coming off the side with an 8-inch through the center with 6-inch loops. So should have much better flow and pressure in that area.
Okay. That completes the pictures. Then we have the rest of the information as typical, included there with detail.
We did complete the 10 transfer switch installations for the first FEMA project, going through the FEMA paperwork process with that now. Anytime you do a FEMA project, there is a litany of paperwork that is required. So we're doing that so we can request our reimbursement for that portion of the project. All 8 of the permanent generators have been delivered, and so we're finalizing, Chatham Engineering, our electrical engineering partner, is finalizing those bid documents now for those installations. They're having to get some work done to design a support system for the big generator and transfer switch where it's going to go on the wastewater plant site. It's a very large generator that's going to be located there. We will be working to temporarily connect one of the new generators at Academy Creek because the 450 kW generator that was currently on site has reached the end of its life, and there's no reason to pour money into it when the new one is sitting outside the building and we just need to run cables to it and get it tied in. So we'll be doing startup on that in advance of the project, just so that backup power source is available.
Tell the commissioners when this project started, and the funding is 20%, 80%, right? We put in 20%.
85-15, right? 85-15. So we have to front all the money, and then we will receive 85% reimbursement, 75% from FEMA and 10% from GEMA. This project started in 2018, into 2018 when we were going through. So it's been a slow project. Electrical gear and generators have had excessively long lead times on them. And so the last generator was delivered in early June, and that had an 18-month lead time on it when we had ordered it. So now that they're all here, we'll hopefully get that done. And then if we're successful putting these in, we're hoping to go back to FEMA to fund another round of transfer switch installations. So hopefully we'll be coming to you for more of those FEMA subrecipient grant documents.
Will we get generators with the transfer switches?
No, sir. GEMA is having a fleet of portable generators that they will have us allow access to on a first come first served basis, obviously. But we did purchase 5 portable generators, so we have 5 portables at our disposal at this time. I mentioned the RAS and UV project starts August the 12th. 4002 CIPP in downtown Brunswick. We're going through submittals now, so they should be out there doing CCTV work, pre-televising and cleaning within the next couple of weeks on that project. That won't be much of a traffic disruption because that's pretty short-term work, but once they start doing the CIPP work, those are 24-hour cure times, so we'll have to put out some traffic control plans to do that. There will be 2 sections in front of our building here, gravity sections. If you drive out there, the manholes are down the middle of the street. So when that happens, they'll be bypassing it with tanker trucks. And so likely the middle 2 lanes of Gloucester will be closed on one of the weekend days to get that work done.
Who's the contractor?
Bionomics,
Okay.
they're the contractor on that, so. Did get the draft anti-degradation analysis today on the North Mainland Treatment Facility, and so I'll be reviewing that and providing comments back for them to then take that work and get the official waste load allocation for the new facility.
Can you tell the commissioners what an anti-deg is?
An anti-degradation is to make sure that what you're proposing is the best practical alternative. There's no other alternatives that would be more beneficial for the area and the environment. So you have to consider a land application system, 100% reuse, a lot of things like that. I haven't checked their math, I'm assuming they're correct. To do a land application system up there, we'd have to, I believe they said, have 500 acres. So don't think that one's going to be necessarily practical.
I don't think so. Not at all.
Is that it?
Wants to sell us some.
That is what we have, yes, sir.
Any commissioners have any questions? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
All in favor? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.